Oh man! All right, so thanks for having me, Dream. This is great. It's an honor and a pleasure to be the first on DJ Den.
Of course, this is the DJ Den. I go by the name of DJ Dreamer 524. I am a DJ myself, obviously, and I love DJing. I think that we should be shedding more lights on DJ's life and the ins and outs of DJing.
Yeah.
I think the DJ's Den will be something that hopefully it'll be something that we can always rely to get an insight into the world of DJing moving forward. And honestly, I'm glad I'm interviewing you first of all people, because obviously you are family,
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a thing where I'm nervous. We know each other for all our life, so it's an easy answer.
Long time. And we know from the beginning, before DJing was our creative vehicle or our creative outlet, we were inspired by music, which led us to DJ. Yeah. So I think that's an important starting point for this conversation, but for many other conversations to be had in the future, because when you ask somebody, like, what made you get into DJing, a lot of times, their answer might be obvious. It's like a certain person that put them on, or they got their first set of turntables for their birthday, and then blah, 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 blah. But I think it's interesting to talk to people about like what music they were listening to, and that also informs how they started DJing and what they start DJing. Like you may start out playing hip hop, right, and then end up moving into playing something else. You know what I mean? You might evolve, or maybe you go deeper into hip hop. So
I feel DJ like even all these years that I've been DJing, I still learn stuff to this day. Like I still feel like there's different genres that I haven't really like tackled fully, and I want to like take it on. Like the other day, for the first time ever, I did a house mixtape, a deep house mixtape.
That's hot.
And it came out good, like to me at least. And I play it over and over and over in the house, and I'm like, and Mel is, my wife is listening to it, and she's like, "You made this?" I was like, "Yeah, I made this." And I was like, it almost felt like my first mixtape I ever made ever, And I've never ventured into the world of house ever. I don't know about you. I mean, here and there you might play a little hit from, like a little song here and there, but actually diving deep into it was like, honestly, it's a different feel. It's melodic. It's really melodic, and the beats and the drums. I was like, wow, I could probably do this. You could
have a lot of fun with house because you could do like really cool blends too. Yeah, and we come from the blend culture. So
the blend culture is big on that because, like, honestly, the special effects, but the effects on it and stuff like that you could do, and the low filters, high filters, and the echoing. Like, I see why like these DJs love it, because you get to really play around with it. In the realm of hip hop, you could play around with those type of things too, because I do it myself, but you have a little bit more fun where the beat is ramping up and it's about to drop, and you got a high filter or a low filter on there, and you just you see these guys like touching it, and they're like
inch by inch,
like it's there was a funny skit on SNL. I know, I gotta send it to you. It's so funny when like when the beat drops. You gotta see it, man. I'm gonna send it to you.
It's a new one?
No, it's really old. It's really old. The guy, I forgot the guy's name, but he's on what's that thing, 911? No,
911? Yeah.
No, not 911. What's that show? Brooklyn 911. You just said that?
Yeah, Reno 911.
Not Reno 911. It's Brooklyn 9.
Oh, Brooklyn 99. Yeah.
Brooklyn 99. Yeah.
Yeah, Andy Samberg.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he's
the
great.
He's the same guy that did the thing with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, Dick in the Box. Yeah.
But anyways, man, yeah. So I got a few questions, obviously, just to keep it super formal.
Yeah, you take the lead, man. I don't want to, get too far ahead.
These questions I already know, but just for the sake of doing this, I'm gonna act like I don't know you.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is your equipment of choice? Like, what do you like? And the thing when you answer that, like, think about when you go to different clubs and they have different setups or what's your personal go-to equipment and what's your secondary? Because it's like a lot of times you may be used to one thing, but when you go to a club, it might be a whole, or you might be featured at somebody's like wedding or something, and they have a different setup. What is your go-to? Your number one and your number two go-to?
All right, so my number one is gonna be turntables. I have to have my two Technics 1200s, or if I'm taking my own set, I have 1210s.
Okay.
Still to this day, I don't know the huge difference, but I think it's just like a more of a mechanical and stylistic difference. So standard issue Technics 1200s turntables. That's the first. Second would have to be, and I'm saying this only because I'm still catching up to newer formats of DJing, whether it's using a controller or CDJs. So I actually resort to playing internally on my computer. I think there's many times that I've been in situations when I didn't have turntables, and I just learned how to
mix
and cue properly using the computer. You can.
Like the other day, or I mentioned to you that Serato Play is out, and I made a mixtape on Serato Play recently.
Already? Yeah.
I was like, okay. I was like,
but purely using your computer, not even using your mixer.
Using my computer, I'm sitting on the couch.
Okay.
My laptop on my lap, and I'm making a full-on mixtape. Like I know you're used to. I know in the past you've made mixtapes, and I have done it too on our phone.
Yes.
And, on the DJ app. And
yes.
Serato Play is a different type of beast though, because you gotta, like you said, you've done it's just like internal mode.
Yeah.
You have a crossfader, and you basically can trigger all your samples and basically all your cue marks, make your cue marks on the fly.
Yeah.
See, I'm you know what? When I DJ, I don't really like using headphones too tough. So if my cue marks are there, like I know how to bring it in. But there's a way also you could use your headphones, but I didn't do that yet. But
the thing about and we don't have to get too deep into Serato DJ Lite yet, because I mean it's so new, and I did watch the introductory video where they walk through every hotkey on the keyboard. Yeah. So I did watch that, and actually I know O.P. Miller, who does a lot of those tutorials.
Yeah, I like that.
Dread dude. Yeah, love that guy. We go back to working together at the Fader and Suite 903 Cornerstone.
Okay.
So I know how thorough he is and how their system is of making sure that people they cover troubleshooting to the max. You know what I mean? And their tutorials are top notch.
Yeah, so I love their channel actually.
Yeah, great channel. I feel like they are. If someone was to ask me what YouTube channels do I watch for any type of like instructional advice or tutorials of that matter, Serato would be one of them. Yeah. So I think playing off the computer is a good backup, because especially if you're using the software in conjunction with your hardware, you should be able to use the software without the hardware, right? to make a Tony Stark Iron Man reference, you know, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have the suit. You know what I mean? When he said to Spider-Man. So basically, what's the name? Serato is like the DJ's armor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And vice versa. You should be nice, you know, DJing without Serato. And I'm not saying that everybody else has to have. Go ahead.
Because I remember. You know, my cousin, you know, DJ Reggae D, when we was out in DR, we basically, you know, there was a problem where they didn't have a DJ and they didn't have a set, but he took it up on himself he had the DJ app.
Yes.
He had no controller, no nothing, and he hooked up the laptop. And he was DJing like it was like he was on the turntables. Like, and people came and was like, yo, I gotta get next. How I'm gonna get on? I'm gonna get on. And he was like, all right, if you can get on, all right. And he showed him what he was working. It was like, you doing that on that? You know, like real, you know what I'm saying? A real DJ does not need a certain equipment. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You should be versatile in anything you do, because once you have the basics of DJing, you can apply it to any set, really. Tell you the truth. Yeah. Only time I ever had a problem DJing, I'm not gonna lie, was when I DJ'd at Empire Skating Ring years ago. I think I told you this. And they had the rain mixed with the knobs. I was like, what the hell is this? You know, like that's the only time I had a problem. Like, I was like, what is this knob business? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? You gotta respect it.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like, all right, so what I want to say, I hold that thought about the knob mixer, because that's important. I want to just touch on that at some point. But I think it's important to know, you know, look, even in a situation when you don't have your go-to, right, you have to have something that you default to. Right. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be in a situation where I got vinyl available to me and I could just rock on vinyl. What if there's nothing to play the vinyl on? What if it's just my computer, or what if it's just a controller?
Right.
You just got to do the bare minimum. You got to be able to do the bare minimum. If it's just mixing songs, mix those songs. If you want to be scratching and do all of that and put yourself at risk potentially, because now you trying to do something that's a little bit more higher level. It's beyond your capabilities, but you're still trying to force it. I have been in situations like that, and I didn't want to force it if it wasn't there. It's like playing basketball, and you don't you know, you're not wearing the right shoes, or like, you know, you pull the muscle, but you're still trying to, you know, dunk from the foul line or something. You know what I'm saying?
I've been in situations like that where the system is kind of clunky and you're trying.
Or the needles are skipping, but you're still trying to do your regular scratches.
You got to know how to pivot. You got to know how to pivot.
And it's about adaptation. Go ahead.
Because the crowd is not. They don't care. They don't care if you know. I can't do this because
you know the disclaimer. Wait, before you even start this stuff, be like, yo.
I just want y'all to know.
I want you to know that I don't have the Rain S9 mixer on me, so I'm going to, it might be a little shaky, but then you go out there and you give them this type of disclaimer, they're looking at you like, yo, my man, yo.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
I don't need this.
I take it, you know, I take, like, you know, we critique DJs all the time when we go in the club, but I always take it a grain of salt, like what the setup is. You know,
that's true.
Too. Like, you know, maybe he's not used to this environment, or you know, maybe channel 2 wasn't working and he had to like just
the fader is bleeding or something, you know.
There's a whole thing that could go to, you know. For the most part, if you're a seasoned DJ or somebody who has the ear for it, you could pick up on if a DJ is struggling and not, like, oh, this system is corny, you know. You could tell. You know what I'm saying?
Real quick, I know, for instance, I picked up on that a couple of years ago on like a DJ set that I recorded on Stretch Armstrong's Hot 97 show that we used to be on Sunday nights by himself, XL Radio. Mm-hmm. So he used to have Premiere fill in for him sometimes, and then there was one time when I was recording it, like Premiere, the scratches sounded off, or like the turntable just sounded off for some reason. And in my mind, I'm like, you know what? It's because he's not used to this type of setup. He's not at home. He's out of his element. So this is what you're gonna get. He still killed it, but you know, it's gonna be a little shaky. But to touch on the thing about the knob mixers, the old knob rain mixers, is that you and I never grew up with that. I never even touched one of those until, I tell you right now, I never touched one of those until 99?
Yeah.
No. Hold on. Well, I'll tell you right now. It was maybe 2000, I want to say, because Duncan had Duncan is our is my aunt's dad, and he's a legendary old school reggae DJ from Brooklyn. Right. So he, in his basement, I went over there one evening. Actually, this might have been before my mom passed away. So, because I remember hanging out there one evening, and then we went to a party over at his house like weeks later. It was in the summertime.
Canarsie, right?
And in Canarsie.
Yeah.
So we went down into his basement, and he was just hanging out with some friends, having some drinks. And the first time I went into his basement, I looked at his set, and I was like, yo, what is this? It looked like a control panel, like more like a control panel for like a spaceship than
Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah. I'm looking at this like artifact.
Yeah.
And I was like, how am I supposed to use this? And I wanted to play because I was eager. I was like, I just want to see what kind of records you have. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm in there and I'm looking at it, and then like I'm like, all right, well, I'm clearly not going to be scratching on this and trying to like cut, because you can't cut. So, I respect it. I was humbled, and I think that the most important thing about DJing is humbling yourself, because you don't know who's in the crowd. You don't know what they want to hear. Granted, you are the authority, so you dictate that. But
you got to do your best. You got to do your best. And like I said, the pivoting is always a good thing, because you have to know how to. You have to know how to like just adjust to the environment and read the crowd, and you got to have different styles of playing. You can't always do the same thing.
Yeah, and just to close that point, is that like I have respect for. Because I have respect for the technology that came before me, is the reason why I have to respect the new technology that's coming out ahead of me. Because if I want to get to that level, I've already mastered where I'm at right now, or at least enough to the point where I've been able to do what I can do, and do it to the best of my ability, and still challenge myself. But there is new room for growth. So I have to go into that new room for growth at a certain level of like humility and open-mindedness.
Right. So DJ Treats.
Yeah, man.
Where is the furthest place you've ever traveled to DJ?
Now I don't know. I'm gonna say no, I didn't DJ there. It would be Japan. That's the furthest I've ever been. Yeah.
But when you DJ'd in Japan, was it like, did you feel like did you use your same routines that you always did, or did you adjust to the crowd? How did you fill out the room? Like, what was that experience like?
All right, so just to give you the reason why I was in Japan was because in 2009, in August of 2009, I was DJing for Mickey Fats from the Bronx, and we had been DJing. I had been doing shows with him for a couple of years, and say almost going on 2 years maybe, and it's interesting because it was a wild year of traveling. I basically coordinated a lot of travel around all of my gigs. I was DJing for Mickey but I was also DJing for Theophilus London, and I was able to combine that into a mini tour for myself. And so as I got off of one tour, I jumped on the other one. And I also squeezed in a wedding gig in the middle of that in Switzerland. So by going to answer your question, going to Japan, we were on tour. We went from LA to Japan. We did shows in LA, and then we flew to Japan. And we were only there for about like 3 days total. We left on the third day in the morning. So the night before, Mickey was scheduled. I only did one gig, and that was for his performance. So it was for the Swagger and 10-year anniversary. Swagger is a streetwear company out of Japan, and this was their 10th anniversary. They booked Club Ageha in Tokyo as the Ageha, Ageha.
Okay.
And they took over the club. Headliners were, in this order, headliners were Lupe Fiasco, The Cool Kids, and Mickey Facts. So Mickey was the opener, first act to go on. So I was the first one on stage. I was there early for the sound check. And, you know, honestly, it was different from when I was DJing for Theophilus, because I didn't get to like warm up the crowd and get people into it. It was just kind of like, all right, lights go up. First song is Mickey, so we're going right into it.
It was your set, right?
Yeah. So I mean, you know, it was they had a writer for me, so they knew what I needed. I had 2 turntables, a mixer, had a microphone. I had my Serato at the time, so it was pretty seamless. I was there, and the set was short, but it was definitely one of the biggest crowds I've ever DJ'd in front of, because
how much you think it was?
I'm gonna say at least like close to between like 300 to 500 people, because that's just on the main floor. We're talking now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
now this is a super club. Let me just explain to you that, you know, what we used to go to when we went to like Exit, Terminal 5, right. Not Speed. You came from the Tunnel days, but, you know, multi-floor clubs. Yeah, so Ageha is at least like 2 or 3 floors. Wow. And different sections, different rooms, all kind of things. So you could probably fit a few thousand. Huh?
Different genre of music in every room?
Almost, yeah. I mean, yeah. Not in every single room, because they got like little rooms too. There was like one spot that had like a shower in it, and you thought you were in someone's apartment. Right. It was weird. It was weird, man. Yeah. And they had like an outdoor deck, and then they had, you know, like I said, the main floor. So honestly, you could probably fit at least like 5,000 people in that club.
Wow.
Maybe more. I don't know. I was also very drunk after that, because and tired too. I was tired. I was jet lagged. I was only there for 3 days.
And you said you fit a wedding in between all of that? Damn, son.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So 2009, between like 2009 and 2000, like between 2009 and 2011 was the busiest time of my DJ career. Never thought that it would have gone to that level, but I honestly got to say it was because I was really active in New York. You know?
Yeah. What do you think the different, like, in crowd participation with like, what's the difference between like Japan and New York?
Energy. You know, like people there are just eager. Go ahead.
Now, there's a different energy out here now.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say in New York there was some excitement, even when you still heard like a new DJ playing something new in the club. I feel like, and you know, I think at that time too, I was in tune with what everything that was hitting like on the internet. Yeah, I had my finger on the pulse. I definitely knew what people wanted to hear, even though I had my own sensibilities I wanted to play to, which was probably a little bit more, you know, more underground, or maybe a little bit more classic material stuff, 90s that you and I grew up with. But the stuff that was hitting, I felt like I knew what was hot. You know, I was playing the people that I was DJing for. I was playing, you know, I was playing Cool Kids, Lupe Fiasco, Kanye. You know, I was touching a lot of different regions. I was playing a lot of stuff from the South. I was playing stuff from Florida. You know, whatever was coming out of Atlanta was hot. So I felt like I was definitely in tune with what people wanted to hear. So I would always hit them with bangers from every single corner of the map sonically. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you saying like the vibe out there was like they had a better energy, like the energy was a higher level than New York.
I feel like before I even played it, they were just like,
they're eager.
Yes.
They're eager out there to get authentic New York feel. You know, you're from New York, you know what's popping. Like you said, you knew you had your ear to the street at that time. So
yeah. Well, look, let me be honest with you. I mean, truth be told, I don't know how much of a presence Mickey had in New York. I mean, sorry, not in New York. Sorry. Respect to Mickey. I don't know how much of a presence he had in Japan. Mind you, he was the opener. You know what I mean? So he had to come out strong. Like, I don't know if
I've seen Mickey perform, and he's a good performer.
He's a good performer, you know. But I mean, it depends on what. You don't know what you're going to get with Mickey. You know what I mean? You're going to get like a super lyrical performance. You might get his battle type of energy, or you might get the rah-rah, you know, I'm all over the place. I'm jumping. I'm rolling around on stage type of Mickey. You know what I'm saying? But he can give you all of that. And, you know, much respect to him. I think he's a talented artist. He's actually an artist. You know, I wouldn't just put him in the box of a rapper, because I feel like he thinks outside of rap, and that's what was the charm of Mickey in the beginning, because he was so versatile. So going out to Japan, he wanted to let that flourish. He was in a new country for the first time, and just allowed himself to just be a sponge, and then also just be whoever he wanted to be that night. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, yeah, the energy was there. It was all high energy, up tempo type of records. It wasn't like super, like I think he did like 3 songs or 3.5 songs, because one song was kind of shorter than the other ones. And the last song was like a song that he had with the Cool Kids at the time, and that was like our closer. So that was more like your boom bap type of record. Mm-hmm. And then he came out the gate with like a, you know, a thumper, you know, something you could play in like a house set, or like a, you know, like a hybrid type of set, you know, with like, you know, up tempo hip hop and maybe some house or something like that.
I was playing Mickey. I played Mickey Facts recently too, when I did a recent practice mix. I just threw it on. I haven't listened to his music in a while, but shout out to Mickey Facts.
Yeah. Big respect to Mickey and Saint and Steve O.
That's from the same era where Cuddy was coming up and everything. Like the whole vibe. But
love Cuddy, love to Cuddy, so man.
Love to Cuddy. Well, what's the weirdest thing that ever happened to you while DJing?
The weirdest thing that ever happened. Well, I mean, depends on how you define weird. I mean, like, all right, I'm gonna give you the first thing that came to mind.
Happened to you or seen while you DJ? Like,
I mean, that's like 2 different things. I mean, when you see things that happen when other people are DJing, it's often, honestly, I think until it actually happens to you, it doesn't really register. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know, like, because you know what it is? It's like, because when you're DJing, if something weird happens, and I'm saying this when it happens to me, or when I see it happen to somebody else, you're already playing, you're so hyper-focused on the moment that it's hard to, like, acknowledge it. You know what I mean? It's because you're locked in a zone mentally, physically, and when something weird comes along and it breaks your concentration, or it takes you out of a groove, it is very noticeable. And you know, things have happened to me while DJing. I feel like I've heard somebody has delivered bad news to me while DJing, or you know, if someone I'm not gonna get into details of this, but I've seen fights happen with my friends during. So my whole night was messed up at that point. So okay, now I'm saying I've known of people getting into fights while I was DJing. Actually, you know this just as well as I do. In Oneonta, when I was in school, when I was in college, I was catching wreck upstairs on the set, and then you know our good cousin and you know our cousin did something that got both of you in trouble, and I was still DJing. I couldn't do anything until.
Sorry.
It's all right. I couldn't do anything until the set was done. You want to say hi?
Hi.
What's up, Cash? How you doing?
Chris and I doing an interview.
Oh, really?
Oh, he can't hear me.
Talking about DJing.
Oh.
This is my son Cassius. He's spent some time on the turntables. I'm a DJ. Yeah. All right. So yeah, you know that happened. You know that incident. I think she went downstairs. So that incident happened. You know, it definitely takes you out of your groove. So it's a very unfortunate thing when that happens, and you just got to pick up the pieces and somehow regroup. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, the weirdest thing that happened, and you know it happens all the time. Honestly, it doesn't happen. It could be the biggest thing, it could be the smallest thing, but I just have to go based off the first thing that came to mind was when. Wait, hold on. Take a picture of the cake before you cut it, okay? Please. So I made a cake this morning, so I want my work documented.
Love the treats.
Yes, sir. All right, so real quick. So one time I was DJing when I had a radio show on Miss Lily's radio station in Manhattan on Houston Street. This was in 2012. Like 2011, 2012. I had a regular show, which you got to DJ on, and had a weekly show, and right there on the corner of like Houston and I forgot what street it was. Lights went out. What happened? You have a blackout?
Nah, I think Mel turned. We have the lights, and she turned out the wrong lights, man.
Oh, that's crazy. Should I continue or wait?
Hold on. I'll turn it back on. Hold on a second.
All right.
You can't believe.
It's all digital. It's electronic.
Automated, yeah, like
automated. Yeah. All right, so people, forget what the cross street is where Miss Lily's was on Houston, but for some reason, weird things always happen on this corner. I mean, really weird things. Fights go down like across the street. Huh?
I remember that corner. Yeah, I remember where the corner that was on.
Yeah, it was either. Go ahead.
You can look through the window while you're DJing. Yeah,
so we're on the corner. So the radio station is set up on the corner with a very big window. You could see outside. And it was a great way to get foot traffic to come into the shop. So a guy ran into the doorway because you had to like walk down like 2 steps and then like a couple of steps later, then you're in the shop. You go through the door.
It's like a dugout.
The dugout, exactly. So this guy walks into the dugout area, and the door was wide open, and he was like stark naked and like dangled his penis in front of us, and then ran off. And I was like, "What in the hell just happened?" And like everybody's looking at each other like shocked. And the crazy thing is that like somebody ran back out to like see where this crazy streaker just went, and nobody could find him. It's like he just like poof disappeared. So yeah, that was really weird. That's not something that would ever happen in a club, at least not that I know of. So for that to happen in a very awkward spot at a very unexpected time was one of the strangest things I've ever seen while
that's
DJing.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, we did.
But that's the thing. It's like also on that corner, things historically were known to go down on that corner. So it's like after that, we're like, you know what? We just have to expect this now. Like this is the norm. That was actually probably like a light night.
Yeah, I'm like. So let me ask you a question. What DJ do you say you've looked up to over the years? like when you go out to DJ and when you go out to party and you happen to be there and they're doing a set that has inspired you to actually push your talent forward. Like, I know who it is for me, but I would love to know who's that DJ that, you know, like, never failed.
Is it Kid Capri for you? Kid Capri, right?
It is Kid Capri for me, but and it's also it was Flex then Kid Capri.
Yeah.
Funkmaster Flex holds this place in my heart because it's like he, you know, like I always tell you the stories of the tunnel, but he would turn he would turn every night into a moment. Like he'll make it a moment. Like, and he, even if, you know, back then we used to like spinning the AV8 mixes, you know what I'm saying, where it was already mixed for us. He would do that on the fly. Like, he would make his own mix, like with the beginning of one song and get you hyped for another song and keep bringing back that one song. Like he'll lights can't, no, not lights. No, he'll do something like he used to take the beginning of a song, like for instance, he would take like Jay-Z's "Throw Your Hands High, High, High," and then he'll drop something, boom, and then he'll do it again, "Throw Your Hands High," and throw another song. This is record days. Like, it's not Serato. Like, it's impressive. Like, you say that to somebody right now, and they're like, "So I could do that right now. It's just hitting the hot cues." And no, this is, your man got one record that he keep bringing back, changing the record, putting it down, and going through, like, and doing it seamlessly. Like, I've seen that. That's what changed. Those type of things pushes your mind forward. Like, I'm not doing enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to at least be on that level or better. You know what I'm saying? So when I seen Flex do that, when I seen Kid Capri, I told you the story of Kid Capri. Kid Capri changed my life forever. You know what I'm saying? But the Flex, seeing Flex command the crowd is one of those things. It's like, he doesn't do it like that anymore because the crowds are different. But because he's playing, I'm sorry to cut you, but he's playing for a different audience that is not looking at what he's doing. They don't look at what he's doing. They're not looking for skill. They're looking for crowd motivation. You know, it's the same way like EDM DJs who are like knob turners, and they're just like, you know, they're all about the action and the spectacle. He has been able to make what he does a spectacle now. Unfortunately, what he was doing back in the day, more personality than talent. Yeah. It's driven by personality than it is his actual talent and skills. So I mean, listen, I to each his own. He's meshing with what's going on now. He's still relevant on the strength of that too. So props to him. Yeah, I still commend Flex for what he's done for hip hop and where he is right now. He's in my top. Amazing. Yeah. Okay. He's in my top. But yeah. So back to you. What DJ have you seen over the years that, you know, you felt like, you know, this person is, you know, pushing the envelope, so it makes you want to push it more? All right, so certain sets are I distinctly remember certain DJs playing certain sets, and I just want to like maybe just rattle them off. So there's never just one. It's just certain things that they do that made me want to like elevate or play a set like them. I want to do a set like them, but I want to do it my way. You know what I mean? So first was Jamie XX. When I saw him do it was the first Boiler Room event I went to. My wife and I went to Good Room on in is it Bushwick? Yeah, in Bushwick. Good Room in Bushwick. It's like a real like house club. Right. Specializing in house music, disco Broadway, stuff. Right? It's on Broadway. Yeah, it's like right off of Broadway. Yeah. So, went there for this Boiler Room event, and Jamie XX was like the headliner. There's gonna be his album, and then the song "There's Gonna Be Good Times" just came out,
So he was on tour for that, and he did a special Boiler Room event for it. And he had, and you know, like, what's his name? Young Thug was on the record, so he came through, and then Egyptian was there too because he had did a record. No, they put VP Records had put There's Gonna Be Good Times on like a Reggae Gold compilation. So that was, you know, so there was, because the remix was a reggae remix, there's a lot of artists on it, Agent Sasco, Cranium, and Popcorn. So, you know, it was Egyptian, sorry. So it was cool, you know, to see all of these different sounds, these represented, it was only Egyptian and Young Thug representing, you know, two factions from hip hop to reggae and dancehall. So it wasn't like the whole crew was in there, but basically that was my sound. Like when you look at that picture, that is the sound that I want to represent. I want to represent like this international, open-minded, forward-thinking type of audience. Right. So, and then Jamie XX being from the UK, he has this you know, he specializes in club, rave, jungle, house, soul, northern soul type of music. You know, the very adjacent subgenres to the very big ones that you and I know, you know, that the world knows in the mainstream, you know, outside of like, you know, techno. Like now he's taking it further into like jungle, you know, garage, two-step, things like that. Okay. So seeing him do that set was like pretty incredible because,
and the people were receptive.
Obviously. People were receptive, man. I mean, it's a tiny room. Like, I mean, Good Room is not huge, but it was a tiny room within the club. So it was like this little side room where he was DJing and looked like a little library, and then the rest of the club is like, you know, you got the bar, and then you have like the bigger dance floor on the main floor of the club. One floor, but I'm saying the main dance floor area. But everybody was just like commandeered to this tiny room to hear him play, and it was wild, man. And he was just cool about it too. He was real laid back. Wasn't like getting into the whole rah-rah, you know, trying to make a spectacle of himself. He was just like playing records very, you know, almost in like a mechanical way, but it just seemed very easy. He seemed very comfortable with that setup. It's almost as if like we were in his house, essentially. You know, I gotta say, as I was telling you that story, the other person that might have done that for me before was hearing DJ AM, DJ in Lotus.
I'm seeing you in Lotus. We were together?
We were probably together for that night.
And he had the set out like in the middle of the floor?
No. It was in the DJ booth.
Okay.
Like the standard DJ booth.
Okay.
But
because
you weren't there.
I did see him do a set where he wasn't in the DJ booth. He was down on the dance floor, and he had the set in the middle. And I'm like, yo, this guy's not even up there. He's down here. And he was like in the crowd. Like the crowd was like semi around him, like in a U around him. But he was like, I was like, wow. Like
that must have been at the end of Lotus, because they never did that from the many years that I was going there.
It was near the ending of Lotus, because it like not too long after that it did close.
Yeah, Lotus, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I feel like you definitely had a better POV of AM for that set. See, so to be fair, I did not see him actually DJing, because the side of the club that I was on, it was like the way Lotus was set up is that you walk in and, you know, the DJ booth is elevated and it's right there by the entrance.
Yeah, and then to the right you could walk up, like there's like these little...
Yeah, you could either go up the stairs or you could just keep walking on the main floor. Right. But the DJ's on the main floor as you enter. So I was the table...
I gotta ask you something else. But go ahead.
All right. So real quick, the table that I was at was like DJ Reach's crew. So they were all at the very, very back of the club, like next to the kitchen. So you would have to like literally be standing up on the booth to see who was DJing. You know, AM wasn't like a very tall guy either. So
Damn, it's nice though, son.
Yeah, man, he was nice. I just remember the vision that I had of him, view that I have of him is with like his headphones, like he went in one ear, smoking a cigarette and just scratching like very, very erratically. But you know, smoking a cigarette like it was nothing, because you know, also at that time you couldn't smoke in the club. Yeah, so I'm just realizing, I'm like, all right, first of all, my man is on some rock star shit right now, and two, he doesn't look like he's making it look real easy right now.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, DJ AM, he got to. I mean, you know, it's sad what he went through, and I mean, yeah. You know what happened with what he did to himself, but he was a talent, man, and I think that, not to say he was just tapping on it, because he was already up there, but I think that he had a lot more in store for us.
He had more work to do. His work was just getting started. You know, not a lot of people know this. I mean, I once in a blue will like post about it like on Instagram, but like I interviewed him not right before he passed away. It might have been like a year before he passed away, but this was like he had already been out of rehab and he was getting clean again. And
isn't there a documentary on him too?
Yeah, an incredible documentary. I mean, it's a moving documentary. But you know what happened was that he was doing well, and I think he was starting to relapse at this moment. And I had talked to him probably right before the relapse, because after that, like, he kind of went off the grid, and like people couldn't reach him sometimes. Like he might have even gone through periods like that. Maybe he just wanted his privacy. But for the most part, he and I had interviewed him for Complex when I was on staff there, and we were doing this like a feature package on, you know, how to blow up. So it's like different fields of careers, different career fields that you could blow up in. So it's like, you know, if you wanted to be a YouTube sensation, like, let's interview somebody who's very established on creating a YouTube channel. Here's somebody who is like, I don't know, some type of entrepreneur, whatever the case would be, a sneaker entrepreneur. Yeah. For DJing, I got to interview AM, and it was by far one of the top 5 like greatest interviews that I've ever done, because like the way we're talking about DJing is the way he and I talked about DJing. Wow. I didn't have to be there at the gigs that he was talking to me about, but he would talk to me about it as if it just happened. And he would go into gigs as if it was like his first time.
With DJing, a true DJ, let's say.
Well, yeah. A career, not a career DJ. Yeah, a career DJ, somebody who just lives it. Yeah. You know?
It's one of those things that, like, when you remember the moment when somebody did something that triggered your ear, like, yo, oh, wow, that's an important move that person just did. Everybody else in the room is just dancing, but I'm paying attention to how this person is mixing, and he's doing something that not everybody is doing. And yeah, you know, when you're deep in music and you know the nuances of DJing, you can pick up on these things. And somebody like AM, he definitely, you could tell by the way he mixes, by his selections, he knew the ins and outs of a turntable or of different genres of music and how to cut and do stuff effortlessly. And he was dope. He was really dope.
Yeah. Yeah. Rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace. Yeah, for real. Circling back to Lotus, right? What venue was your favorite venue to DJ in? Period. Like if you could say, yo, this is my, like, I want to DJ here forever, and this is the only place. Which venue would it be? Like, you know, like there's some, you know, there's a lot of hole in the walls that were actually dope, and there's just hole in the walls that was like clunky. But then there's a, you know, the setup of a, you know, like you were talking about the DJ when you come in Lotus, the DJ was higher up. Like I always talk to you like how, like in a tunnel, how it was set up. Like Flex was above the crowd and he could like look down, and it was just like it's always a club that have a different setup. I even remember when we were going to clubs to service DJs, Club Decade was a pretty cool venue. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's your favorite? What's your favorite venue?
Man, as you were saying that, things were coming to mind, but I was like, oh man, I might have only DJ'd there once, or maybe I DJ'd there twice. Mm-hmm. And then like other factors started playing into it. It's definitely going to be a place that I DJ'd maybe like once before I was like DJing for other people.
Right.
And then when I started DJing there with other people, then it became more familiar, and then I felt like I was like becoming, like it became more of an event for me to DJ there as opposed to I got a gig here. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I'm going back to, you know, such and such. It's like a homecoming kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna just say this, and I could be wrong. I could be missing something because, you know, it's been a long time, and you know, a lot of places come and go, and even our favorite places, as they've closed, you just it's like out of sight, out of mind. But the first place that came to mind was Santos Party House.
Santos was dope.
Because you know what was ill about Santos is that like it had like a it factor to it.
Yeah, it did.
You know what I mean? Like
that was Vashti's party, right? Well,
yes.
Not every party there with that.
She had like a Friday night party kind of thing on the main floor. But what was dope about Santos is that like it was like the upstairs and the downstairs, and then different parties on different nights, and it was like centrally located that it was such a unique place to go to because like all the cool music industry people went there on like, let's say Friday nights for Vashti's party, but then, you know, on a Tuesday night, you would have like some random, you know, new promoter doing a party there, and it would be probably just as hot as the Friday night party. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they had a lot of performances there too. So why I say Santos, because, you know, I got to DJ, I DJ'd downstairs. I DJ'd one of my first versus parties.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to talk about that too, Doug.
Yeah.
You're on the heartbeat of the interview here, man, because I was about to talk. Go ahead. Because that's
right, so
to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. I almost want to say that the versus parties might have put me in some places more than once. I can't remember specifically where, because we did. Hold on real quick, because as I'm thinking about this, I want to say that the versus party. Oh, Kinfolk. We did a few joints at Kinfolk, which is popular. Yeah,
nice setup in Kinfolk. I like it.
Kinfolk was kind of like a second home for me because I knew a lot of people that worked there, and I liked the setup. I like the sound system was popping. I never had a bad set at
I've never been downstairs at Kinfolk. No, I have.
No, there's no downstairs. You walk in and then you go into the dome. Two steps down, you go into the dome area.
Right, I'm bugging because there's two sides to it. There's one side.
Yes, there's 94 and then there's 90. Yes.
Yeah. There's two sides to it because I know that I went to it one time and I was like, this is not the same place that I remember. But it was like walking on the ground level and be somewhere, and then the other one. I always think that side door goes downstairs, but it's not. You're right. It goes into that.
Yeah, the way it's set up is that like on the corner you have Kinfolk 90, which is like the bar cafe, which people and now that's like one of the hot spots, or was one of the hot spots. And then you have the shop, and then you have 94, and 94 was like the bigger venue. The proper club.
And that's a
So, all right, so. I'm going to say it's like a tie between Santos and Kinfolk because I probably DJ'd there equal amounts. And, you know, DJing and Santos brought like this it factor. They did new parties, and then they did these really established parties, and then you have like performances there, like live performances. So I had opportunities to DJ at Santos downstairs for the Versus party one time. This is one of the last times I DJed at Santos. And so did the Versus party. It was the Dream versus Justin Timberlake. And you were there for that, yes. That party was nice. That party was nice. Because like it had like a lot of little like peaks and valleys. I DJ with Four Color Zach, who is nice, as you know. Like he is a really great turntablist. So
let's go into that Versus party. Like,
yeah,
you know,
but hold on. Before we go into that, I just want to say also I DJ'd some performances. So like the Alpha Sunday London performed there, so I was able to DJ a couple of shows there. One upstairs and one downstairs. One was part of CMJ Music Marathon, and another one was like from his tour or something. So, I
mean, those are just epic times, man. Epic times.
Yeah, I got busy. Anyway, so about the Versus party.
I mean, how do you feel? How do you feel knowing that you have under your belt like Versus parties that you've done, like, and now people, you know, this whole thing with Swiss Beats and Timbaland is like, you know, they brought so much attention to pitting people against each other, and you were doing that a long time ago. Do you feel like not feel slight? Obviously, you can't feel slighted because nothing is. But do you feel like
honestly, all right, I'm a little conflicted when it comes to the whole Versus thing. Like I'm thoroughly entertained, and I'm very thankful for the powers that be that allow us to access some of our favorite artists, that give us access to our favorite artists, and the artists give us access to their world and share these very intimate moments in music. Hold on one second.
Okay.
What's up?
I was just asking where you put this from.
Okay. Did the mummy come back up? Okay. All right. So this is actually really important. And, you know, honestly, no one's ever asked me this question before, so I never had a chance to actually address it. I'm pretty conflicted about it because, like I said, on one hand, we are very blessed to be invited into this world where we have dream battles, essentially, between some of our favorite artists. And you see it happening in real time. But the other side of me is not really keen on it because, like, yeah, like you said, I never thought about this, but when people start doing like Versus parties, which I have done probably on and off for like maybe 3 years, I think it's kind of whack, to be honest with you, because like, okay, cool, you have Swiss and Timbaland, and the Versus brand in itself has elevated something that a very smart, forward-thinking young black man created, named Clarence Brewster. It's the same thing.
Same exact name and everything.
Yeah, they just spelled it differently, but they must know that, you know, Clarence created this at one point. And, you know, honestly, he would be a good person to ask about it. Clarence, I can't speak for him. Like, I got a lot of love for him, and he's very talented and motivated and driven man. And he really squeezed the juices out of the Versus brand from you know, since, let's see, I would say probably the last one I did was in 2016, maybe 17. Only reason why I remember that was because like it was at SOBs, and it was like sometime in January, and I remember playing a blend of like Mr. Fingers, the original Mr. Fingers, like maybe it was like a house record by Mr. Fingers. It was like one of the known ones, and it had somebody had mixed Barack Obama's "I Have" acceptance speech for the 2008 election.
Oh wow!
And then there's a Martin Luther King version, which is like an official version that was put out, you could find on iTunes. It's like the I Have a Dream speech over this this house beat. Anyway, so, and it was like, in my mind, I was thinking about the election and whatnot. And so I'm pretty sure it was around that time. So you talk about, like, let's say 4 years ago, that might have been the end, or the beginning of the end of the Versus brand, you know.
Right.
And that was definitely the last Versus party I did. So I think it's kind of whack that, like, if people come out and start do Versus parties, because I felt like that had been done. I felt like there was nowhere else you could really go with it. You know, that brand, they did that party on cruise lines around the city.
Yes.
I got to DJ one of them. It was an epic moment. I did a set.
I didn't make it, but I know that. I think Brad and the twins.
So Brad was there. The Bebo twins were there. DJ Whitney and Kayla. Mm-hmm. So I remember and Tiffany was there. I was doing my set, and I definitely had one of the livest sets, because like some of those other rooms were empty, and I thought I had like one of the wackest rooms, but I had one of the best rooms, because Jesus and Miro, before they even were before they were, you know, on Showtime and did all these other amazing things, they had just, you know, started doing their show with Complex. So, you know, we had a lot of brand sponsorship through, you know, people like Complex and other streetwear brands were getting involved. So the spotlight on the Versus brand was really growing. And I think this was the first one on the yacht. Yeah. And, you know, I had Jesus was there, you know, as I'm playing like reggae tunes, and I seen the Jamaican side come out of Jesus that night. So, you know, it was crazy.
Jesus?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I did not know.
Yeah, man. He reps for JA.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
So like I was saying, I felt like the Versus brand, I felt like it had been everything that could have been done at that time was being done. They brought in a lot of really great DJs to be a part of it. I'm not just the only one. A lot of other really great DJs were part of it. I got to shout out my man, Jordan, Very Advanced Page. We did parties at Webster Hall together.
I was going to say that.
Yo, I got to say, the Webster Hall gigs were some of my favorite gigs.
That's the guy off the iPad?
No, that was Dapwell from Das Races.
Okay.
No, but Jordan and I did a party, and it was, ironically, it was Swiss Beats versus Manny Fresh. It was like Rough Riders versus Cash Money.
Yeah, I kind of remember that party. Man,
yeah.
It's dope that you have that on your belt, like, you know, flyers and stuff. You should repost just.
I will. You know, not for nothing. I feel like Clarence has been kind of quiet, and again, I'm not speaking for him. I got a lot of love for him. I'm very thankful for him putting me on to those gigs, you know, because like it gave me regularity in the clubs, at a lot of different clubs, in a lot of different places.
Even at the station, Source Life Radio, DJ Rugged D had a thing called the Beatdown, where he was doing like the same thing but on air. And he was putting producers against each other. So when I see that, this is long before all of this, you know, like, I'm like, yo, you know, this is funny how everybody, you know, because it's the platform, obviously, you know, Swiss, he has a platform. He's able to bring in people to be involved with it. But that's dope. The last one I did, the Erykah Badu and Joe Scott, I didn't get to see. But
it was just cool to see these two queens of music just kind of like connect, because they have overlapped in so many different ways and crossed paths. And it was nice to see them come together and show the power of their music as one. Whereas, you know, they, for a really long time, I feel like their audiences weren't like, not every Erykah Badu fan was a Jill Scott fan, and not every Jill Scott fan was an Erykah Badu fan.
Right.
So I feel like for one of the first times we actually saw that come together last night. I mean, I wasn't like hooked on every record, but in hindsight, I'm just kind of like thinking about the effect of that.
Yeah, it's
But
big. It's actually big for the. I'm not mad at the verses, but I'm more or less. Yeah, I was gonna say the light too. I was gonna tell you.
Yeah, I know it's starting to dim. I'm gonna turn on another light. But look, I think things go in waves. It's not like this is not no one owns this really, which means that anybody could do it. And I think maybe why I feel a little indifferent about it is because it's two of the biggest producers in the world who definitely deserve their credit and their flowers for their own individual accomplishments and their collective accomplishment now with this. But it's like, yo, man, those dudes are rich, man. And I know I'm sure they're doing it for the culture, but like they're
not making any money.
They have. No, I don't think so either.
No,
but
they're not making any money.
I don't know. I just kind of see. I'm just saying it's not the most original idea. It's just the platform in which they're doing it.
You know what? It's not the original. It's not original because this sound clash has been going on.
Sound clash has been happening forever. You know what I mean? This is not nothing new. Like this come from sound clash culture. Yeah, and
but you gotta because honestly,
I respect it.
The fact that they said that they'll do a Bad Boy versus Death Row. I'm kind of hyped for that because I would just love to see what song they're gonna put up against Who Shot You. Because that's why I have fun with it. It's not on a kid them playing songs. It's like, what do you answer that song with that you just played? You know what I'm saying?
Is that really happening? Is that really happening?
Yeah, it's Diddy said on Fat Joe's live that it's gonna happen.
So who's representing Death Row?
Dre.
Snoop? Oh, Dre.
Well, it's not Death Row. I shouldn't say Death Row. I'm saying Diddy versus Dre.
Okay.
But it's still Death Row. He still has Death Row music. He still has
right.
Aftermath music. So I think that's gonna be. I get hyped for that. Even though, like you're saying, it's not original. Just to see them two on screen playing their music, that's epic.
Look, all right. For the record, I'm not trying to sound like a hater when I say I'm a little on the fence about verses. I'm just not jumping out the window like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever made. This is like the reason why I go on Instagram. It's like
it really isn't. Right. It's not original. I'm not saying it's original. But
but look, we have great memories now and a lot of great stories that have come out of the verses that you would not get at a party. And it does bring the party element virtually to this central place where now we can watch something live in these stories and this interaction between people that normally we don't get to see interact with. So, what I tune into the verses for is not so much the music, it's the stories that come with that. Or like the comments that people leave, like, yo, I was there in the club in '88 when, ODB was, rocking with Wu-Tang, and then, this fight almost broke out with such and such, like I'm in it for those types of stories, not a fight per se, but, or maybe there was a lot of love, like between certain camps that you didn't know existed, even though they may not have.
I mean, there were certain stories that came out on different, like the Primo and the RZA one was pretty good. They told backstories and stuff. That's pretty dope,
Yeah, that was dope. That was really, really dope. Sorry, go ahead. So, yeah, continue.
No, I'm gonna start winding down, but at the same time, do you think the game is oversaturated with DJs at this point? Because since the digital frontier of DJing has like invaded the world, how do you feel about any? I mean, I kind of know how you feel, but
I changed my stance on that, but go ahead.
I kind of look at both sides. So how do you feel how do you think the game is oversaturated with DJs at this point? And how do you feel about the digital world, the digital, like, the word
Digital revolution?
Yeah, the digital evolution of DJing.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you right.
It could be a two-parter if you want.
In two parts.
Mm-hmm.
I think the industry, or I think the world, is oversaturated with not enough good DJing. And, you know, good is a very subjective term. Bad is a very subjective term when it comes to somebody's skill level and what they and how you define what's good. Sometimes doing the bare minimum and pleasing a lot of people is good enough.
Right.
But by my standards, I think the world is oversaturated with not enough good DJs. And, you know, maybe you could say that the digital revolution has made it better to be a good DJ, or at least to be an average DJ, than be a bad DJ. I think maybe if I was an engineer and I was making a lot of these new DJ products, from controllers to apps, I would want to make the best product that allows people to be the best DJ that they can be and not be bad. Like, there's no room for being bad. You would have to, like, actively be bad. Like, your intention would have to be
right.
Like, you have to have bad and good, and you have to be a well-intentioned person to be a bad DJ.
You have to really plan.
Yeah, you got that's your goal. Like, I want to go into these parties, I'm gonna literally fuck it up. Yeah. You know, like, I don't want people to have a good time. I'm going to just play records with reckless abandon.
Right. Because, you know, in this era, it like, DJing is like super easy if you just know the basics, but, you know, super easy to mix. But actually, the experience and knowing how to read a crowd, that's not in a controller. That's not something that you can just get a DJ set and do. And the thing about it is, like, I think also it's just people just, like, accept people DJing more, like, now than anything. It's like anybody could be a DJ because you have tons and tons and tons of music and just say, let me become a DJ. You know, if you don't go to the beginning of it and work your way up, it's kind of like, why are you doing it? You know, like, you're just doing it just to do it. You just want to be behind. You just want a Instagram photo saying you do this. You're doing it for clout. Like, you know, like, it annoys me sometimes when people become DJs that were never DJs before, you know. But I've learned over the years to, like, look at them and say, let me give them a chance to hear what they got, you know. Yeah. But I've been seldomly surprised at up and coming DJs, because it's a different time now, and people bring different type of feels to their set that I don't even care for, you know.
I often have to reckon with my opinion on DJing, because while I have invested a lot of time and energy into DJing, I may not have the riches that some people have off of DJing. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I try not to compare myself to other people in general, but specifically when it comes to DJing, because it is a pretty competitive, because it is competitive in some ways, it is also competitive by nature, because it comes out of the competition element of hip hop, where, you know, where you have rap battles, you also have DJ battles. You have, you know, people who battle, you know, in terms of graffiti. Like, you know, you can have you can be competitive with every element of hip hop. You can be competitive as a beatboxer against somebody else. You can be competitive in terms of fashion, whatever the case may be. You want to do it better than somebody who is on your level, or you just want to be the best. So what I'm getting at is that because I don't DJ as much, and because like I'm still kind of reconciling some personal like gripes that I have with myself and the industry in itself. I think that being competitive, for me to have an opinion on what other DJs do, doesn't really suit me, because if I feel so strongly about it, I feel like I should go out and just be a better DJ. Like, to me, my way of answering that question is going out and like mashing up every party and taking every gig and just crushing shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel.
Tunnel vision.
I don't even have to answer it. Like, I don't even have to answer that question. I feel like I do my gigs, and people talk about it, I promote it, and that is how, like, I don't have to answer that question. And I implore.
I respect that. I respect that 100%. Like,
I implore other people to do the same thing, because you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't
having tunnel vision in your lane is better than looking at what other people are doing.
For real, it doesn't serve you. Like, what do you get out of that by being sour because, like, yo, that man or that girl?
Because honestly speaking, sometimes you feel like it's a waste of party. Like, yo, all these people are here, and it's a waste of time. Like, everybody could have a way better time. You know, you've been to parties and it's like whack, and you're like, wow, there's a lot of people here. Nobody's feeling the DJ. And it's because this person just picked up a controller yesterday and said, let me be a DJ today.
Well, it's easy. It's in our nature to ask, why them and not me, right? So, but if you're asking yourself that, go ahead.
There's a lot of politics behind shit.
Yeah, there's politics on that. And I think a lot of people don't see that. You know, like, there's a lot of sacrifices you have to make when you become a DJ. You know, how much are you willing to DJ? How much money are you willing to take? And, you know, if you're doing all this without a manager, props to you, because you have a lot of patience and a lot of
work. Yep.
A lot of work to do. It's a full-time job. So I say all of that to say that I try not to me, if I have an opinion about something, is directly related to why that person may have done one specific thing, and not so much like calling them out like, you don't have like you don't have weight in the game. We're just looking at the bigger picture. You know what I mean? Like, maybe, for instance, if you have a platform that you have a DJ set on, I can't really fault somebody who I have never heard of a day in my life for getting that spot, because maybe there's other factors in that. Maybe that person is already in that system and they just happen to love this sound of music. So they just, the authorities at that platform put them in that position. And now, you know, they're just playing their cards. You know what I'm saying? Now, time will tell how long they get to play those cards, but that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I know where you're going.
Yeah.
All right, before I go, because, you know, I want to make this too long.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sure we could keep going.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot. I mean, I got a little bullet point list here, but a lot of stuff I didn't ask you, but it's cool. Name your top 3 DJs in any form. It don't have to be, you know, it don't have to be like in order or anything. Just top 3 DJs. I made a list recently. I made a list that was like club DJ, turntablists, and female DJs. Because I had put out a tweet recently. I said, how much female DJs do you know, or how much female producers do you know? A lot of people don't know a lot of female producers, man. I think there's a void for that. But just your top 3. I'm not asking any genre. Just your top 3 DJs. Yeah.
Mm. Ah, man.
Hard question.
It's hard, man. It's hard to make three. I mean, I wouldn't put them in this order, but man. No. I want to say. I'm trying to think of my favorite reggae, like dancehall DJ, because I mean I don't really have like a specific DJ in like Jamaican DJ that I listen to like regularly, but I know that there are some that like I revere, you know, like Bobby Converse or like Sting International.
Sounds. Big sounds.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna say I really just from growing up that people I listened to then and I still listen to now. So I'm gonna say Funkmaster Flex, Stretch Armstrong, A-Track.
Okay.
Flex because he held down clubs and radio. Stretch because he held down clubs and radio, and is also like a very outspoken person about DJing and music culture and very knowledgeable about music and can talk about it at length. And then A-Track because of turntablism. You know, honestly, like I discovered.
No, go
Go ahead. What?
No, go ahead.
I discovered turntablism through A-Track. He was not that far in age from me when I first discovered him when I was in high school, and he was competing on an international stage. And then, you know, I started to admire the people around him, the other DJs around him that were just like instrumental to skills and just. But if I have to name like a fourth, because honestly, I could take out any of those guys and swap in this person, and it would have to be Premier.
Yeah.
Because Premier
is crazy.
Premier is a producer. Like none of those guys have produced records with the flair of DJing that Premier has done.
Yeah.
He has been able to. I mean, they all have produced records, but they're all different producers. But Premier is kind of like the icon of DJ producer, because normally the transition from DJing is to produce. So
second to that would probably be like someone like Swiss. Swiss used to DJ.
Yeah. And then he went into
he doesn't put in the DJing flair into his beats like Premier does. Premier's
yeah
with his hands.
Yes. So yeah, man. So I mean, honestly, today it could be Flex, Stretch, and A-Track, but in like tomorrow it could be like Flex, Premier, and A-Track, or Premier, A-Track, and Stretch. Honestly, it's like.
You know what's crazy
it's
about
kind of interchangeable.
Premier? I've always been fascinated at how Premier DJs where he doesn't use both the turntables on one side of the mixer. He doesn't. I don't think it's his left hand he doesn't use. You know what I'm talking about? Like how?
Yes, I think he's actually a lefty.
So it's the right side he doesn't use.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't. I know what you're talking about.
One or the other, but when I've seen him play in person, I was like, wow! Like I was super surprised. I was like, wait a minute, this guy doesn't use both hands. Like
no, and this is something you and I have talked about this, but I think about this a lot because, like, if there's anything that I think about when it comes to DJing in the world that doesn't concern me and my set, it's that.
It's that
Seriously. If there's one thing that could keep me up at night about DJing, it would be that, because, or if there was one question I could ask Premier, that would be the first thing I ask him, because I'm curious to know where that came from, where he, like, why he chooses that, but then also, you know, what I want to talk to him like for an hour just about that, because I think it's very interesting.
I would love to interview Premier as well. And if you're there, I want to be there. If I'm there, I want you to be like, for real. Like, that is a question too, because
sorry, you cutting out.
He can rock with that one hand, and
he kills it.
He's been doing it for years, so he knows what he's doing, obviously, but. You know,
but he still plays. Like, he did the RZA battle with the mixer in the middle.
Yeah. He did.
So
I noticed that. You noticed that too. Yeah.
I don't know what the method is to his madness, but I think that if that's like his superpower. To be honest with you, it's like yo.
Everybody has a unique style that they carry when they DJ. Yeah. Everybody has that one thing. Like, you and I have always talked about Flex's scratch. You know that?
Yeah.
That one scratch that he does that we're like, yo, we don't see anybody really doing that.
I'm on the phone. Hang on a second.
You know, there's every DJ has that thing, that flair, that one thing. Like, you know, my top three, I've always told you, is Flex, Kid Capri, and Jazzy Jeff, but that's the one with club DJ, and I always told you reverse it, turn to for turntablism is right in reverse is Jeff, Kid Capri, Flex. So they all carry something that, you know, you be like, wow, they do that well. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have that. Like, back in the days, we used to always talking about the Marvel trading cards or whatever, and their abilities, you know what I'm saying? Like, they all have their abilities in different bars, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, I just, that's why I get so hyped, because the technical aspect of DJing is what's intriguing. It's like being so technical, the mechanical DJing, like, you getting into your style, and like, you know what's missing right now that I realized, like, not too long ago watching. So I've watched a lot of, like, online DJing where people are just DJing rocking crowds or doing routine. Even on Serato's channel, they have quite a few DJs rocked it. You know what's missing, son? The backspin. The backspin is missing. Like, because
everyone just hits cue points.
Everybody hits a cue point. You know how important the backspin was, and to be on point with the backspin. If DJs had to backspin today, they could not DJ.
No, I started teaching Cassius how to backspin. The last time he spent like 45 minutes, he was playing around with I love this. He was playing "Put Your Hands Up" by Jadakiss.
Okay.
So, but he was.
That's one in a while. You know that? Wow.
Yeah. I don't know why I had that record out, but I had it out and I was playing with it, and then, like, I was like, you know, I'm gonna show you something, and I started showing him the fundamentals of like DJing. So it's like, you know, channel 1, channel 2, move the fader, scratch forward with the motion of the forward motion of the turntable, and then you pull back in the opposite direction. Things like where to place your hand on the record.
Right.
So I left him alone for a while so he can just kind of like mess around with it. And then I came back and I saw him. He was backspinning stuff. He was backspinning stuff on 45. So he sped up, put your hands up, and was like trying to backspin it on 45. And then I showed him how to hit the cue points, and then he was trying to make a beat with the cue points. So, you know, it's important to know both. But man, if you can't backspin, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the thing, dog. Like, you know how much times I've got, like, you know, I've just been intrigued, and I've done it myself DJing, but just watching people wheel back the record enough times, like, it's like in your mind to know how to backspin it enough to get back to that one point. You know, you have your cue marks on the record, but you know, it's a feeling of when you backspin, you bring it back to a level, and then you're pushing it forward, and it's like a motion. We don't have that motion anymore. That motion is more like this, and then, and you know, like that motion, that one motion showed how brilliant you were and how intricate, and you know, just how much you've studied the record. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, how well you know the record.
Yeah,
how well you know it.
It's like that is missing to me, because I mean, to everybody would say, why would you want to do that now? You can hit the cue mark, but I think that's just a key part of DJing that we don't have anymore. The backspin. I mean, people do it. I've seen DJs that do it. They are doing, and especially like now with the Ring 12s, and it's a big platter where you could just like backspin, and it has the 12 o'clock mark on it, so you know, stuff like that is cool. But you know, there's a lot of DJs that don't even know that. They don't even know that part of DJing. That's like something that's foreign to them. Like if you did that, they'd be like, well, wait a minute, how are you wheeling back and knowing where to stop it? And then, you know, like, it's just, there was times where I didn't even have a cue mark, but I knew where to, you know, like, it's
by listening to the record, you know, like, I mean, I think that people, they play songs, but they don't listen to the songs.
You know what fucked me up one time? Seeing Flex. I think, I don't know what club, I think it was Club Eugene or something like that. It's one of the rare times that I was like right next to Flex while he was DJing.
Yes.
Right?
No, it might have been Envy. I think I was with you that night.
Okay, it might be Envy. Yeah, it might be.
You took me up there. You took me up there. I did
go up next to Flex at one time. Yeah, I remember that. Wow.
You did. I remember you took me. That might have been one of the only times I ever heard Flex play.
Son,
because
I remember seeing him, and he had the headphones on, and he literally had the cue shit on, and not. Sometimes he would take the ear off to hear the crowd, but that's so confusing to me to have the cue both sides on.
Oh yes.
He would have both sides on and wheeling it and scratching it and wheeling and scratching it, but not on some. You know how, like, I don't know how you know, when I DJ, I gotta hear it. Like, if I'm using headphones, I gotta wheel it back, and then I gotta turn it off to scratch it. Like, you know, I don't want to hear.
Right? Yeah. You don't want to hear your scratching in your ear when it's out there too.
This man hears the scratches in his ears while he's doing that, and I was like, I thought something was wrong, but I think
it's weird.
I think I seen it twice, so I was like, oh, that's how he DJs. That's how he DJs. Everybody has a different formula, man. Everybody has a different formula.
I also think people hear things differently, and it puts them in a different state of mind. Yo, you know, man, just little things that, you know, you know what I thought you were going to say before you said what people don't do anymore. Before you said backspinning, I thought you were going to say something like, people don't sweat anymore when they DJ. I swear I thought you were going to be like, you know what's really crazy? People don't sweat anymore. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's backspinning? Oh, I never thought about that. But honestly, if you sweat, if you're the people that we know that DJ, the way they sweat, they are, it's like a workout for them. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about they're jumping up and down. They're sweating because they are working.
They're working. Yo, man, it was a workout. Like, let's be honest, dog. You're on the set, you're DJing, and you gotta go find a record and then rush back, put it on before the song ends or before that part where you wanna, you know, transition into, and you gotta be on point, and you have that flair. Like,
I mean, because of the motion of, let's say, backspinning and scratching and, you know, your own body movement, tapping your feet, swaying back and forth, you do work up a sweat doing that. So if no one is backspinning, then you ain't getting rings around your t-shirt unless you just have like a gland problem.
Countless times I've been DJ and have my shirt off and I'm just like, and my whole chest is drenched, and I'm like, you know, like a lot of the times DJing used to be a therapeutic thing for me just to get on it, because it's like a work, like you said, it's a workout. It was like a workout to me. I miss that though. I miss it, but you know, it's something that you got to know how to do. You gotta be of that cloth to talk it. You know what I'm saying? You can't just really like this era, and really, I don't want to say.
Sorry, I lost you.
This era now, they are not aware of that. The mechanical DJ. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something foreign to them, but it's so much fun. You know, it's so much fun when you think about that. I don't want to be the old soul just talking about the back in the days and how it was. You know, DJing was a different era, but you know, it's just a feeling that you get like that backspin will make you scratch different. I'm telling you. You catch that backspin at the right angle, it would make your scratch sound a little different. You know what I'm saying?
I never thought about that. Yeah. Also because like depending on what's already playing, you might be trying to like juggle that with what's currently playing, or maybe you might try to like bring it in at the right point because you're waiting. It's not like you just hit a cue point and you drop it at any time. You have to be on beat after you backspin. Whatever you bring back, you got to be on beat.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like it's missing. But you know what? That's just technology. Technology is just like we solved that. You know, it's like we solved it by the cue boy. You know, like it's like we're not using rotary phones anymore. You know, you can dial. It's like we solved that. But you know, at the same time, it's missed. It used to be fun to use a rotary phone at times. You know, it was kind of.
Oh yeah. I don't know exactly what, but yes, there was something kind of fun about a rotary phone at times.
All right, so one of my last questions is how often do you make mixtapes and where could they be found?
Oh, good question.
Who tune into this?
I make when I do make a mixtape, I put it up on Mixcloud. So my Mixcloud username is just DJ Treats. I used to have DJ_Treats, but my homie Dan, who used to work there, I'm trying to remember.
You got a few?
No. Dan Tana. Dan that used to be at where I used to work.
That Dan.
Yeah, that Dan. So like Dan, originally from OK Player. Love Dan. Love for Dan. He worked at Mixcloud and he was able to boost my profile there, and he secured DJ Treats for me. And then he transferred all of my followers from one account to the other one, so it was just DJ Treats without DJ_Treats. I think I still have both of them, but like, anyway.
Does he still work there?
No, he's not there anymore.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I should have told him to put you on at the time. Anyway, Mixcloud is where my joints are, and I also put up other stuff too because I got a lot of old tapes from that you and I did, or like stuff that my dad used to play because he was a DJ.
I did see one. I kind of knew the answer to this question, but I had to ask it anyway.
Where to find it? Oh yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I don't really mess with SoundCloud because like I don't want to have to pay a premium membership to host my mixes, and then it's just like capped after a certain amount. So I mean, it's probably unlimited now, but I don't know. I like Mixcloud. I like Mixcloud's format. I like the shows that are on there. I like the broadcasters, so I like the community.
So recently, Mixcloud just offered where you could go live now. You could go live on Mixcloud. They just offered that.
I did not know that.
2 weeks ago, and you can go live up there now, but you have to be a paid account to do it.
Okay. Look, I think there's a lot of room for growth when you have a premium account with Mixcloud. So if I was to do mixtapes more often, yes, I would have a premium account. You could check for them every week or every month, whatever the case may be. But I do mixtapes at my own leisure. Also because I don't know. Whenever I did do them, I did them for my own enjoyment. Right. I don't expect people to listen to my mixtapes. I make my mixtapes for you.
Yeah.
Or for, my other friends who I know will like it. I make it for them. I don't really expect people to be listening to it like that.
I've been unloading tons of mixtapes up there just off the strength, just to have it somewhere, because there's a lot of times where people ask me for a mix and there's no way, I'm not emailing a whole
set
MP3 anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to upload it to another site to set. I said, might as well just keep it there and then send them the link to that and say, yo, listen to what you want to listen to.
Yeah. I think it's cool. I think it's a great platform.
Yeah.
So yeah. In the meantime, I have a few things coming out that I think people will enjoy. I got to do some scratches for Agent Sasko, aka Assassin. So you can check for that. I mean, it's not a mixtape, but I did something on his upcoming album. It's coming out. First single's coming out, I think, May 21st.
That's interesting. So you was able to bring your own setup to do it?
No. So I went to a studio. I went to Subdecibel Sound. My good friend Dorian Besson has a studio in Williamsburg, and actually no, in Bushwick. I drove out there right before the quarantine, before I left New York. That was one of the last things I did. Okay. And recorded some scratches out there and sent it to Sasko in Jamaica. And he and his producer, Teflon, mixed it down and put it on the chorus. So I like how it came out.
That's pretty dope, man.
Yeah. It's first time I've ever, done anything on someone's album. So I think this is, it's an accomplishment. I don't know what will come of it in the future. I'm just glad to have been able to contribute that to somebody that I respect and admire in music, and as a person too. But I was grateful for that opportunity.
That's dope, man. For real. That's something that you're gonna always listen to. Like, that's me on that. It's one of those things, man.
Yeah, I mean, and I did it on a dance hall type of record. You know what I mean? It's not like a hip hop record. It has a hip hop feel to it, but it's a proper dance hall type of record. Right. And that's my kind of thing.
That's dope, man. Well, I want to say thank you for doing the first episode of the DJ's Den.
Thank you for welcoming me into the den.
No, definitely, man.
It's been fun. Yeah, no, we've been in the den. I've been in the den when it was a hog pen, when it was more like the ship factory.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. And like I said, moving forward, there's a lot of other DJs that I'm gonna reach out to. Be dope if you wanted to either get in on it or do one or whatever the case may be. But I think that, this is something that you and I love, and might as well talk to other people who are in that same mind frame as it, because there's tons of us out there, that respect the craft and respect what goes into it and the stories that go on, that happen at some of these parties that we've encountered, it's tons of things. So much stuff we could talk about more, but
yeah. All right, we're gonna do it. I'm getting ideas for some people, and look, some of them it'll be a shot in the dark, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, man. I mean,
it's your shot, man.
Yeah, really. Hey, whatever. There's tons of DJs out there, man.
Yeah. We're gonna gonna do it.
Now, I also want to pick the mind of up and coming DJs too. You know, like I really want.
Oh no, for sure. I know some people.
Yeah, I really want to speak to them and see their mind, because you know there might be a blind spot that I don't see. You know?
Yep, I think right now what's happening on Twitch. That's I want to figure out what's going on over there, because there's a lot happening. Yeah,
a lot of things in the genre. But yeah, man. Thanks. And
yeah, no doubt. Thank you, Dream. I appreciate you. Love you always, man. Thank you.
Love you too, man. Yeah. Anybody? What was I gonna say? What's your social media? What's your show? I know it, but what is it?
All right. On Twitter, you can reach me at I am DJ Treats, and on Instagram, you can reach me at Treatise. TREATISE.
You kind of broke up.
So my Instagram handle is Treatise, TREATISE. I don't have DJ Treats because someone else has it, and Instagram won't let me have it. But we're gonna figure that out. We're gonna figure that out. You can also just check out my website, djtreats.com. There's nothing really going on there. It's a portfolio site, but if you want to get to know who I am and where I've been and what I do and what I'm...
You got merch, right? You got merch. I know you got merch.
I have a T-shirt. It's, you know, if you want one, just hit me up. That's all I got to say.
Send them a DM.
Send me a DM. We could work out a price. We also have to figure out how I'm going to get it to you, because I'm not in my house. So you might be waiting a little while to get a T-shirt from me if you want one. But yeah, I made a T-shirt. I made a zine, and yeah, you know, little bit of promo. But my promotional merch has you know, has a story to it, and that's what I try to aim for. I want people to have like a piece of me when they have a piece of my whether it's a product or a mix that I've made. You know, there's a story to it.
That's dope, man.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right, man.
Yo, we're gonna do this again.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you, Dream. Peace.
Later.
All right, man.